Hey guys, this is the New to Books channel, and I've got a book review for you today. This is how I felt after I read this book. Just pulling at my hair for hours, just thinking, what is going on? This is Pygmy. This is Chuck Palahniuk's 10th book. This is his first one after such a horrible failure of Snuff that really anything after that would be an amazing book. But he decided to put this out. And for a couple of reasons, it's a really good book, but it's very frustrating. This book starts off rather difficult. First, it's not really written with any kind of grammar-specific regulations to his English. You have a story of a character who has no name other than this nickname given to him, Pygmy. He just calls himself Operative Me, and he's from some country that is never disclosed in the book. I can only guess it could be North Korea or some nation like that because of the artwork on the book, but you'll never know. Going through the book and reading it, you tend to think that it's got to get easier, and it never will. Throughout the whole book, it's going to be very aggravating reading it, but hopefully, as I did, I found myself relearning a new language almost, and about halfway through the book, getting used to it and being able to read it on a regular pace. Maybe I'll give you a little heads up. All throughout the book, you'll have little blackouts like this because it's like a government type thing. You know, it's censored, but the whole thing's just backwards. Here you go. Begins here, 7th account of Operative Me, agent number 67, seated among sleeping chamber of host sister, domestic structure cedar, suburb community, date, for official record, night of day, host cat sister absorb all light, host cat sister, aptly faced with black paint, all layer black, surround mouths, eyes to make white, tooth shine bright. White eyes appear vast, blinking, minstrel slow, arms and legs apparelled black, blouse and trouser, feet black shod, black blouse, feature neck of turtle, sister eye rest on own eye, reflected mirror mounted in own hand. Basically, all that's saying is he's in his host sister's bedroom. She's got black face paint on and she's wearing a black turtleneck, black pants, and black shoes. And it's just so frustrating because it's like you have to read this stupid book and sit there and go over every little sentence just to think about what it's going to be. And then somehow when I got done with it, it all made sense. And I think that's where I'm going to start the review from here. Snuff. Such a horrible book, like I said earlier, that I was so happy to see a new one come out, that only when I read it, I was just more confused than ever, thinking Palahniuk has just gone crazy. He has lost his ability to write. It takes such a long time for me to get used to it that when I finished it, I just kind of put it away, not really giving it what I should have thought-wise. Upon going back with it, though, I realized how good of a book it really is. Like a good tea, it must have time to steep properly. If given up too soon or if left too long to think and to really let your hatreds come out on it, it will just eat you away. It will not taste good. First, like I've said earlier, the reading issue. No really major grammar rules that he sticks to here. There's really no grammar structure. It's basically you have a terrorist come into our nation that has English as a second language, and that's basically how he thinks is what you read. Certain things he describes here. with definitions. He doesn't just say, I go to a church. He goes to a religion propaganda distribution outlet. He doesn't watch news reporters on TVs. He watched hordes of scavengers feast on overflowing anus of world history. He doesn't go to a spelling bee in his school. He's forced to battle to list English alphabet letters. It never lets up like this. It's somewhat creative and surprising and just kind of enjoyable to a point to see all the interesting ways Palahniuk really comes up with here, how he describes our society. And it starts to kind of make sense what's going on here with this book, and really it's more of a satire making fun of us than anything else. Your story goes like this. It starts in real time. You have a terrorist that's an exchange student here coming over for the first time to meet his host family. And throughout the chapters, he thinks back to him growing up and how he's raised and trained in his home country that you will never know. It kind of shows how the difference in how we are here and how other nations are, and how they're raised in such a very strict and somewhat dictatorship nation. In the one here in the book, it's very interesting to see the differences on their beliefs of country first, humanity second, whereas I think some people here would go, personal first, country second. Their distinct hatred for us, whereas they feel that their love for their country is justifies everything they do, is quite interesting. They're raised in the ideologies of Marxism, Adolf Hitler, Augusto Pinochet, and other people in history like that. And many times throughout the book, he quotes them and refers to them, and it's quite surprising the quotes that are used in here. If you really think about it, I think the way it's meant to think about, it might kind of blow your mind a little bit. The book itself is a rather hilarious book once you understand exactly what it is. It's a great storyline. It has great structure and great character to the book. It's quite funny in very different ways. It's a very Palahniuk book to the core. There are many scenes in here that will make you second guess reading it, make you kind of gross out a little bit. It's still very that much kind of a book, but there's some scenes in here that are just really funny to me. You have a spelling bee scene, for example, where you have the sleeper cell of exchange students over here, and they're so into the spelling bee that they don't want to lose that. Every American child can't spell a word past the second round, and here it's hours and hours and hours later, and you have all these exchange students spelling all these words that the teachers have to go to the library just to get dictionaries to figure out words to try to stump them with, and they cannot do it. It's quite hilarious that way. You have the issue where Pygmy and his host sister end up giving date rape drugs to her family just so they can sneak out at night to break into places to get equipment for science fair projects. You have the whole issue of the terrorists are over here to take down the United States through a national high school science fair. Just the thought of it's kind of crazy. You're going to take over the United States through a high school science fair. But then again, once you realize what's going on, it makes relatively good sense. You have a bully who bullies everyone, especially Pygmy. And, in the very beginning, Pygmy stands up to him and does some quite vile things to him. And it turns out that the bully really just wants to love Pygmy and be loved in return by Pygmy. And he just continues on through the book with this process. You have a school shooting in the book. You have a priest that tries to baptize some of the terrorists that are over here, only to be possibly murdered in the middle of the baptism. It's just full of things like that. once I got to the end and realized what was going on and really took the book for what it was and let it steep really well, did I realize how good of a book it was and how much I really enjoyed it. The only huge issue that still sits with me today would be the ending is almost kind of Disney World-ish. It kind of let me down a little bit. It's one of those things, everyone's happy, everything turns out for the good, and the bad guys are bad, the good guys are good, and things happen like that. It's just kind of, I mean, it makes sense, but other books that Palahniuk have done have not necessarily gone that way. I've kind of liked how they've ended, and with this one, it's kind of the happy-go-lucky ending, and it's just, it makes sense, and it goes with the book. It's just kind of a letdown, but I still like it. It's still a good story. And just because the ending was not exactly how I wanted it to be does not make it any less of a joy for me to have this book and read it. I do want to say that the book is rather interesting with the cover. It has different types of karate moves, and these are all throughout the book on how all these things can kill people so fast. And the actual book itself is really nice. It's black, and it has the silver inset there with the Pygmy character on the front. So I hope this video was a little enjoyable for you. I know it's probably a little long, but this book just kind of gets to me, and I like it, and it's just very frustrating, and hopefully I didn't rant too much, and you can take something from it. I hope you makes you want to go read. Hope it gives you any kind of insights, and I'll be talking with you in the future. Have a great day.